I had always heard stories about the seventh floor of Mercer Hospital. Once in a while, during late-night shifts, whispers would snake their way through the break room, full of ghastly tales and supposedly real encounters. Nurses spoke in hushed tones about the fire that gutted that floor decades ago. Patients perished, and parts of the hospital were never quite the same. At least that's how the stories went. I tried not to give in to the macabre allure of those tales, but those late-night shifts lend themselves to a certain vulnerability. Most regular staff wouldn't know about the seventh floor, the way the old hall seemed to narrow just before reaching the elevator that shouldn't be operational. I mean, technically it isn't, yet there it stands. I'm a night nurse, just over 2 years into my position, and already accustomed to the anomalies of the job. I've heard the inexplicable stories, encountered a fair share of distressing events, but I learned long ago to build a fort of logic around myself. The first time I saw the elevator light up with a call from the seventh floor, I dismissed it. Hospitals are breeding grounds for glitches, technological hiccups, and the residual static of obsolete infrastructure. As the supervisor switched rotations, she was quick to mention, "Sometimes things get odd on the seventh. It's best to ignore it." I suppose she meant to share a joke, but her eyes didn't quite join her mouth in laughter. Then it happened again, usually around 3 a.m., right when exhaustion sets in like an unwelcome shroud. I was sorting files at the nurse's station when I heard the distinctly soft ding. I glanced at the panel. Sure enough, the light for the seventh floor was aglow, and then, moments later, the elevator doors whooshed open. Emptiness greeted me. The elevator cabin stared back with a gaping, unlit maw. Swallowing hard, I turned away, promising myself it was nothing. Just another oddity, a weird glitch. These things happen, I reasoned, though I had a niggling sensation this was different. The kind of different that makes its way into your bones, lodging there like a splinter you can't quite retrieve. One of the janitors, Greg, caught me staring at the open doors. "Trust me," he started, his voice a rumble that matched the echoing silence of night. "You don't want to take that ride." He flashed a grin that was all teeth but no warmth. "Have you?" I hesitated. "Have you been up there?" His grin faltered slightly, eyes going to the dulled 7 button on the elevator. "Once," he said, voice dropping to an almost conspiratorial whisper. "Back when I was new, it was curiosity against better judgment. Trust me, best to leave that floor alone." Curiosity brewed in me against my better judgment, but I nodded and turned back to my work. Despite myself, every creak of the hospital's ancient bones and murmur of unguarded breeze reminded me of the sealed floor. I couldn't shake the feeling something was reaching out from that place, even when I refused to meet its call directly. Weeks passed, more nights seeping into dawn, more instances of the elevator beckoning to no one. Each time, the doors opened, holding a dark invitation to step inside. I managed to resist, though not without coworkers noticing my stilted behavior. Soon, circumstances conspired in a way only fate seems capable of. A quiet night shifted into overdrive, quicker influxes of ER cases, coupled with mysterious power surges that bloomed across the building. Somehow, amidst the electrical flickers, I found myself herding a disoriented older patient back toward their room when we wandered into the hall holding the tethered elevator. The call light for the seventh floor was on, glowing like some ominous star signaling the inevitable. The aged patient clutched my arm, wide eyes fixed on the elevator. "C came back," they whispered. "Comes back to take you where it went back to the beginning." There was a tremble in the patient's voice that echoed against the floor tiles as I tried to steer them away. The elevator doors opened with a hiss, and I felt the cold brushing past us. I fought the impulse to look into the cabin, every story and spine-chilling whisper colliding in my head. I swayed somewhere between choice and fate, finding my feet crossing the threshold before I realized what I was doing. The interior was as eerie as expected, silent, shadow-soaked, and seemingly benign. I pressed the button for the seventh floor, a whisper of sound signaling our ascent. As the elevator crawled upward, a claustrophobic pressure built within. It was as though the walls wanted to close inward, crush me under the weight of secrets begging release. My heart hammered, feeling like it might beat its way out of my chest. The familiar ding announced our arrival, and after an eternal moment, the doors parted. Cool air, carrying the scent of disuse and faded remnants of smoke, greeted me. The hall was impossibly long and shadowed, lights flickering weakly as if uncertain they should illuminate what lay before them. The remnants of a hospital space lived here, doors slightly ajar, paint peeling in ghostly curls, and silence as thick as fog. With every discouraged step, a sense of melancholic heaviness sank in. Rooms that once held life now lay dormant, whispering of stories imprinted upon their walls. Though the wing had been sealed long ago, something remained, something that felt conscious of my intrusion. I wandered, the returning air carrying hushed echoes of the past. They grew louder with each step, until they were less echoes, more insistence. Silhouettes formed in the cracks between light and dark, figures of nurses, patients, doctors. They flickered in and out of reality, leaving the scent of old wards in their wake. One room at the end of the hall exuded a quiet pull stronger than the rest. A plaque hung askance outside it, half its lettering obscured by time and soot. The temperature shifted as I stepped inside, feeling the room's mournful grasp. Here the fire had left its greatest marks, sooty, blistered walls and half-burned curtains. At the center of the room waited an old hospital bed, frame blackened and rusted. I approached it, an unknown compulsion guiding my steps. No sooner had I reached it than an image flashed across my mind, a memory not my own. Flames licking walls, anguished cries merging with clattering chaos, and the feel of oppressive heat. All so real, so vivid. The memory lingered, fighting to root itself in my consciousness. The room seemed to react as if aware of my presence, shadows stretching, shifting. I stumbled back, out of memory and into the chill of now. It took every ounce of resolve to retreat from that room, to follow the blighted corridor back to the elevator, where everything was mostly, maybe normal. Back at the nurses' station, hours lost to the seventh floor returned sluggishly. Only residual echoes remained, ticking like unresolved duty. Attempts to engage with any nurse ahead of my shift found vague recognition of an elevator that shouldn't be functional. They shunned acknowledgement of more sinister truths, ever keen on giving reassurance without question. But I know what I saw, and past the patina of age and tragedy, other lives eked out, existing beneath a relentless, unending wave of science and solace, a hospital only in name now. I no longer work there. Events citing staffing, budget, and a sudden involuntary leave. Each day edged closer to claims of derangement, though I carry the imprint of the seventh floor, a reminder pulsating like the very core of horror itself. Though I left that cursed place, sometimes, as I sleep, I hear the soft ding of an elevator, drawing me to explore depths that exist only as shadows of what was, calling me back to rooms full of stories yearning eternally for understanding.